What's going on, y'all? Fast Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA, talking about Kevin Durant, who was on Bill Simmons' podcast, and they were having a bunch of different topics, and it was a pretty interesting podcast. And he basically said something that was very interesting about loyalty with the recent Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving trade, right? And he basically was asked by Bill Simmons what he thought about that trade and how Isaiah Thomas was the opposite of what people now blame players for not being loyal. He was actually loyal to the Celtics, and how did they reward him? By trading him. This is a guy who played like a day or two after his sister's death. He's played with broken teeth. He's played with a questionable hip. He's given everything possible to a Celtics organization, and they turn around and they trade him like chopped liver. You know, they just traded him, and they said, you know what, it's a business at the end of the day. And KD basically said, you know what, I've been knew that. People should know that. There is no loyalty in the NBA. There's money involved. It's a business, okay? So here to talk about if KD is in fact right about that, because there's a lot of layers here. So let's get right into it. Question number one, do I believe there is loyalty in the NBA? Yes. Yes, I do, okay? And the reason I say that is because the Lakers were loyal to Kobe in his last 2 seasons. They gave him a fat contract. I think it was the highest paid player in the league his last 2 or 3 years. And they were clearly rebuilding, but they kept him because Kobe was loyal to them. So they were loyal to Kobe, even though it was in their best interest to trade Kobe or not give him that contract. That last contract that they gave him was basically a loyalty contract, okay? Then you have the Dirk Nowitzki with the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks have been loyal to Dirk Nowitzki. It is time. It has been time for the Mavericks to rebuild. I would say for the past 3 or 4 seasons, the Mavs should have rebuilded. And Mark Cuban refuses to let Dirk go. Why? Because he's loyal to Dirk Nowitzki, just like how Dirk has been loyal to the Mavericks. Then you have the Spurs with Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and those guys. They've been loyal to them forever. Manu Ginobili's damn near 40. And the Spurs are still giving him money. You know, I know it's like $5 million for 2 years. It's not a lot, but they're still giving out contract, even though they should be moving in with the youth, moving now and bringing in new guys and getting rid of the old guys, okay? But they're loyal to those guys because those guys paid the dues to the franchise, and so they feel the loyalty to give it back to them. So there is loyalty in the NBA, but of course there are a few qualifiers that come with it. One, of course, you have to be a superstar, and 2, usually it is the good, successful organizations that reward your loyalty with the organization, like I just mentioned with Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Dirk Nowitzki. But with the middle class and the role players and the bench guys, oh, there is no loyalty whatsoever. You're just a number on a piece of paper. I'm talking about your salary. Can you fit under salary cap? Can you not? What can we get for this guy? Can we get a pick for him? Can we rebuild? Can we look towards the future? You're out of here, okay? There's no loyalty with that, okay? So I absolutely agree with KD there, okay? Honestly, the only guy I can think of who is a role player that a team has been loyal to him, few and far between, a guy like a Udonis Haslem who's been with the Heat all his career, but those are clear exceptions to the rule. Usually you get traded. So KD is absolutely right there with no loyalty, but with the middle class and the fringe players. Now you're asking about Isaiah Thomas. Why did he get traded? So Isaiah Thomas isn't really a superstar. He's an all-star. He's a very good player in this league, but he's not a superstar, okay? And he's had a very interesting path where he's been traded 2 or 3 times. So it's not like it's been the first time he's been traded. So with IT, it was a clear business decision with the hip and the Celtics not feeling like he can lead their franchise, and they don't feel comfortable giving him $30 million a year. I feel like the salary cap in terms of the CBA and how the max is set up also played a part. If the max wasn't so high for a guy like Isaiah Thomas, he can get paid $30 million, I think they would have considered keeping him. But I think all of those factors led to them trading Isaiah Thomas because they didn't want to lose him for nothing. So getting back to the question here, why do superstars get blamed for leaving when teams just trade them and everybody's like, oh, it's a business? Even fans are like that, you know, and I will be the first to admit I've done that before, but not anymore, because now I know and I understand, and I'm not naive to think that the NBA is not a business. It's a business, okay? But why do superstars get blamed for leaving? Okay, here's the thing. Again, it comes with qualifiers. You look at the top 5 players right now with LeBron, KD, Kawhi, Steph, Russ, Harden. Those guys that are on good franchises and good organizations, we expect them to stay with those organizations for the rest of their career. We expect Steph to stay with the Warriors for the rest of his career. He just signed a 5-year, $200 million plus contract, so he's well on his way to that. Kawhi Leonard, we expect him to stay with the Spurs. They've been good for, it feels like, all my life, okay? And then you got a guy like Russell Westbrook, who he's got a max waiting on him on the table. OKC's been, I would say, a middling organization in terms of good or bad. They've made some bad decisions, but they've made great selections in the draft. So it's like, I don't know. And Harden, of course, got traded, but he signed that max extension with the Rockets. So we expect him to stay there. So with LeBron and KD, why did LeBron get hated? Why did KD get hated when they left? I will stick by this till I go to my grave. I said I just did not like the fact that Kevin Durant went to the team that beat him. I had no issue with KD going to any other team in that offseason. If you went to the Celtics, if you went to the Wizards, if you went to the Lakers, I could care less. I would not have hated Kevin Durant. It was just the fact that he went to the team that beat him that made me feel like there was no competitive fiber within Kevin Durant. And that is it. I will never blame a guy for being mobile and taking the best decision for his family. I know that sounds very PC, but hear me out here, okay? Nobody hates Shaq for leaving Orlando and going to the Lakers, okay? His legacy is not defined as being loyal and being a snake like KD is getting right now, okay? Gordon Hayward leaving for the Celtics. They'll forget it in like 2 months. I feel like people already forgot about it. Nobody gives a rip about Gordon Hayward going to the Celtics. You look at a guy like when Chris Bosh went to the Heat. He was hated for being on the Heat, but Toronto Raptors fans got over it real quick. And the whole burning of jerseys, these are just trolls, okay? Everybody knows these are not real NBA fans. So if any NBA players are watching, those are trolls, okay? Those are not real NBA fans. People should know that. NBA players should know that. Executives, media should know that. Those are just trolls doing that. We know players that deserve to get honored and players, of course, that deserve not to, okay? And so my point to you is, a lot of the time, free agents that leave, they don't get backlash. It's just the exceptions with LeBron being from his hometown. If LeBron James was not from Cleveland, he was not from, well, he's from Akron, Ohio, but if that wasn't close to Cleveland, if it wasn't his home state, if he was from, let's say, Florida, well, I don't want to say Florida. Let's say if he was from Atlanta or Chicago or New York, and he was drafted by the Cavs, and then he went to Miami, nobody would care. He was the hometown kid. That is why him leaving Cleveland meant he was leaving his home, okay? And we just saw with Derrick Rose this past season, last year, he got traded from his hometown like no other, and everybody's like, oh, it's a business. D. Rose is washed up. It was time for the Bulls to move on. So that is why I'm here to say, yes, there is no loyalty in the NBA unless you're a superstar. In that sense, you will get loyalty like a Kobe, like a Dirk. 2, for the middle class and for the role players, no loyalty whatsoever outside of a few exceptions. And for those superstars that get backlash for not being loyal, chances are they always come with some sort of a qualifier. Like I said, with KD leaving to the team that beat him, a 73-9 team, and LeBron being from his hometown. 90% of the time when players leave and they're, leaving for another team, fans will get over it like that, okay? Like I said, Gordon Hayward to the Celtics, people already forgot about it. Chris Bosh to the Heat, people had forgot about it in Toronto. And for the most part, fans will not react the way that, of course, we see with the burning of the jerseys on social media. That's not real NBA fans, folks. So I just wanted to let people know out there about loyalty in the NBA and where it stands. Let me know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me. Leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.